So welcome everybody. Welcome to EmpowerHer. And today we're going to be looking at EmpowerHer target audience. Okay, and it is vital for digital strategies that you find your ideal audience. So we're going to look at how do you unveil your right target audience? How do you know you're selling to the right target audience? Some of you might be thinking, Natalia, what do you mean selling to the right target audience? I'm making sales. But what you'll find is actually, is this your target audience? And are you having to really slug your guts out just to be getting these sales? And is that because maybe you're not targeting the right audience? Is it because you haven't got your value proposition of your product or your service aligned with your audience? So value proposition is everything when you're launching your business. And the only way you can do that successfully is to know who your audience is. However, for some of you, what you might find is that actually you don't have enough data, you don't have enough information to actually really understand who your audience is. And that being the instance, that's when competitive analysis is really important. Also, your competitor is probably more established and bigger than you. So why would you not look towards your competitor, your direct competitors and your indirect competitors to really understand more about your audience, their behavior and their habits if you don't have access to that historical data? So this workshop is really about everything at your fingertips with a competitive analysis to understand and find out more about your audience. Okay, so who am I? A lot of you know who I am, so I'm not going to bore you with the spill. And this is a power lunch session, so we are going to be finishing in a timely manner for you to be able to go back to your task, work, or your business. So I'm a Google certified coach. I've worked with Google for numerous years, really teaching businesses how to upskill, how to use digital strategies from e-commerce to social media to how to build out a sales funnel. That's what I've done. I've worked with many non-profit government organizations, large banks, all helping entrepreneurs really understand the digitalization, innovation, and how they can apply that to their business. I run my own e-commerce business, and I'm also the founder of Women in Digital Business. So you're in safe hands. I'm qualified, and also I've failed my way to success. I understand how frustrating it is to keep trying something and not getting the results that you want, and literally going into insanity of trying the same thing and expecting a different result because you've got that flair, you've got that fire, but you're just not quite getting the results that you want, and it's frustrating. I understand that, being an e-commerce business owner myself. And it wasn't always this way. And really, my life changed through being a lot more strategic about growth planning. So these series of masterclasses that we're putting together at the moment, they're really to help you to analyze, like, where am I at the moment? Like, what do I keep going back and forth on? As I'm going back and forth, what am I learning about what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right? How am I optimizing everything that I'm doing on the internet? How much assets have I got? Am I auditing them? How can they work for me? It's all about building a future-proof plan that really you can map out a great customer journey. You can measure it and use the analytics to be able to understand, to know how you're going to grow your business, and also understand, how do I automate this? What tools and tactics will I use? What technology will I use? And that's what Women in Digital Business is about. It's about teaching you strategically how to build out a winning plan that's going to get you predictable skills before you start hanging out on digital platforms and channels and spending money or implementing strategies that you've heard of that work for other people. You have to have your own strategy yourself. So it wasn't until I really understood all of this that I got into, really being able to make money. And when you're talking about making money and building wealth, a lot of that comes from investment. Your business is just what will bring through the day-to-day funds. So you might have a great business and a great brand, but if you're not getting the income and the customers in, we need to look at that, and we need to work together to figure out why. So what are we going to cover today? So today we are going to run, or you're going to run, should I say, make sure you've got your notepads out, a competitive analysis. Many of you are in the starting phase of your business, and for those of you that are trading and making money, you're still in the beginning of your business as a small business. So you're either in like solopreneur, startup, or your small to medium business. Okay, and running a competitive analysis is one of the best ways to really understand who your audience is. And when you look at your competitors, you start to look at things from more of a bird's eye view. When you're in your own business, you tend to make a lot of assumptions about who your audience is. because for a lot of you, you are your target audience. And because you're so connected to your business, you think you know what your customer thinks because you want them to think that, so they're buying more from you. So using competitive analysis is a really great way to really start to get to know this person that is interested in your business and wants to buy your products and services. Okay, there's 3 types of competitors. We're going to look at that today because these are things that you're going to learn. The more you learn about your audience and their buying habits and their trends is the more powerful any of your marketing campaigns are going to be. And we're just going to look at how do I run a competitive analysis. Audience profiling will come into every single part of your business. And I will, at the end of this, give you some fantastic resources for you to be able to continue the work that we're about to start today and really understand who your audience is. When you can understand who your audience is, you will start to write content that connects with your audience. Remember what I said to you, the magic sauce, the secret of digital marketing is simply how do you create personal, human to human relationships in regards to your product or service that you sell and make that connection through technology without your 5 senses, without sight, without smell, without taste, without hearing, without touch. How do you do that? Well, you can hear, but I think you get the gist that I make. How do you have personal relationships? And when you can combat that, that's when your digital campaigns will really start to work. And that starts with knowing who your customer is. So let's look at it. Why run a competitive analysis in the first place? It's one of those things that they talk about in a business plan. And please note that if you're getting any templates for business plans online, please try and stay away from them. These plans are not written for entrepreneurs. They're being written by somebody that comes from some type of form of institution that hasn't actually probably run their own business. Okay. So even though you might have covered this in your business plan, did you cover this realistically for you in your own head? This is another thing about having a successful business online as well. It's about creating plans that are for you, that keep you on track, not plans that were structured by other people or institutions that actually don't work from you. So it becomes like an essay. You're just doing work because you've been told to do something, where what you want to do is be getting really excited about the data you're going to be collecting about your audience, because it's going to open up some key doors and nuggets for you to elevate yourself in starting your own online business. So in business, competition is a fact of life. New competitors sprout up constantly. And if you're not careful, one of them just might move in and start taking away your customers. Know who your customers are. You don't want them to be poached. What can you do to make sure that they're not being poached? Okay. So what is a competitive analysis? So a multifaceted approach to looking at the direct and indirect competition in your market and analyzing ways you can improve your own business is to set yourself apart from your competitors. What do your customers want from you? What would be so different about you? What problem do you solve in terms of the problem that you solve in your product or service that sets you apart? What is it your customer wants? Is it more something that's more convenience? Think about digitalization. Look at your business process and think to yourself, how could this be digitalized to set ourselves apart from our competition, for example? So when we look at nail salons, the service industry full stop, especially retail, hospitality and leisure, the fact that you can now just make all bookings through an app. Okay, you don't even need call centers to book a flight anymore. You actually book your own flight essentially, with how booking systems now work. You can make a reservation at a restaurant through an app. You don't need to phone and wait and speak to anyone. It's a lot more quicker. You don't just have to have an app for one restaurant. You can use one app that has access to every restaurant in London. Okay, what makes you set yourself apart? What is it about your business, for those of you that are in business already, could you change that really suits your audience and makes life more convenient using digital strategies to make life easier? And again, that competitive analysis and that asking yourself what sets you apart, which is going to help you to actually create your brand, also makes you say to yourself, okay, actually, what do my customers think? What would make me set them apart? Everything should be customer focused. So you want a strategic analysis of your competitors to give you deeper insights. It's as simple as that. So it's the most single important part of your business. It's your customers. So understand who your customers are. If you haven't sold to them and you don't know who they are, even more so, you should be starting with your competitors. There's too much market intelligence out there for you to say, I don't know. And for those of you that have got customers, ask them directly. So, what's the benefit of a competitive analysis? Running a competitive analysis will help you answer these really important questions. Okay. Is there an alternative solution to the product or service that you offer? What other products or services are your customers using to solve their problem in regards to your product or service? I want you to actually answer these questions. And if you feel like you need more time or you want to reflect on it, like I said, the replay will be on YouTube. Okay. So, what other products or services are your customers using to solve their problems? Which solutions do they like and which do they dislike and why? Customer segments, your target audience should be segmented. So, which segments of your market are your competitors targeting? What types of customers gravitates towards each of the different competitors? So by customer segments, just so you're clear, it's like saying, well, I make bags for mums. Is that newborn bags for newborns, for mums that have just had a baby? Is that bags for mums that go on holiday and have got young children under 10? Is that bags for mums who have got teenagers and maybe you can upsell to their teenage daughters? Customer segments. So you'll have a target audience, but they're segmented because you want to make sure with all your messaging, you're connecting with your audience. And you can only connect with your audience on that type of personal level if you know them. Competitive strategy. So which segments of your markets are your competitors targeting? By understanding segmentation, you can see which ones might be more profitable, which ones have still got growth and potential in them. Customer views and preferences. How many times do you buy a product or service based on the reviews of what other customers think and how they feel about it? Also, you want to know as well, like, how do they even feel about the competitors and why? It's your job to be able to really understand your customer to the next level, that you could bring something to them that it's a no-brainer for them. They just want it because you can really articulate your messaging and connect with them on a different level. That's what you want to do. Okay. So what types of competitors are there? Because the more types of competitors that you find out about their customers in this day and age with all the data intelligence, and we're going to touch on some software that could really help you, is really, really key. So first of all, you've got direct competitors. These are companies that solve the same problem for the same people that you do. So Levino, HP, Dell, these are all companies that make Android laptops. Okay. So who are your direct competitors? And as I'm asking these questions, guys, I actually want you to answer them. Okay. So, which companies solve the same problem as what you do? Okay, really important question. You're in direct competition. So these competitors offer similar solutions, but not exactly. So maybe if you're starting a business, like my business is NN Inspirational Gifts, but I started off selling candles. So my direct competition will be candle sellers. But in terms of my main overall goal of selling inspirational gifts, which could be a line of loads of different products, my indirect competitor could be something like, a store on Etsy or not sold on the high street. Okay, it doesn't exactly sell candles, but it's an indirect competition, and it's if your business is going to look to diversify and scale and growth, it's key to really understand who your direct competitors are, because you'll get more of an idea of the different types of customers you have. Like we said, your target audience is broken down into different segments. So by looking at the indirect competition, you're looking more in a broad sense, if you see where I'm coming from, of understanding who your audience is. So for an example, you've got like Coca-Cola and you've got Starbucks. So alternative solutions these are competitors that are alternatives to your business that consist of straightforward replacements or stitching together multiple tools or solutions. So you couldn't get McDonald's, but actually I fancy something more sweet. It's an alternative solution. It's not the same thing. It's not a burger, but it's a donut. These are all establish partnerships with businesses where you can really piggyback off of. No, I haven't. Nope. I think you can still hear me, but I just somehow got out of sharing screen, I think. Bear with me. Yes, I'm still sharing. So, when you're looking at alternative solutions, it might be, looking at a product or a solution or a competitor that doesn't solve the exact same problem as you, but it's an alternative solution. So maybe rather than getting my eyebrows waxed, I might get them threaded, but it's an alternative solution that could be different. This is how markets can take the market share, by the way, of a particular sector quite easily. By looking at alternative solutions and breaking into that marketplace, or bringing customers from that marketplace of an indirect competitor into your own community or following. Make sense? So one of the exercises I want you to do is, just identify these competitor types. Is this direct or indirect? This is a really obvious one. But obviously, this is direct competition. BMW and Mercedes, they're both car manufacturers. That's what they do. This is their direct competition. So please know that Mercedes would be using tools like, for instance, SEMrush, SEMrush. Princess, if you can put it in the chat, that would be great. Or tools like SimilarWeb, or tools like Spark Toro. These are all software tools that can look into your competitors, and you can gain a very good understanding of all the keywords they use, how much they bid on those keywords, what their customers in the community thinks about them. It's going to give you a breakdown of everything they do within their marketing campaigns, which is also going to reflect their marketing research. So in the beginning, when you don't have that broad search and you don't know as much about your customers as you would like because you're simply maybe not big enough, look to your competition to really take a deep dive of understanding who is my audience. Okay, and to do that, it's all about understanding your competitors, because you're now getting a broad view of your different audience by looking at your, direct competitor, your indirect competitor. Who your indirect competition is super useful, because you're going to get a broader range of who your audience is, because your audience can always cross over into another sector. Makes sense? So the more you know about indirect competition, is the more you're going to know about all the different segments of your audience. So really important. So now we're going to look at, how do you actually run a competitor analysis? How do you do this, and how do I actually get the data out about my customers and what I know from them about my competitors? Some of you might have enough information that you can do this on your own businesses as well as a competitive analysis. It's just the advantage that it's going to give you of really understanding the buying behavior and trends of your audience by looking at your competitors and see what they're doing now for the go-to service or product that they use, as they're not using yours just yet. So the steps to a successful competitor analysis is to start with customer surveys. Okay, you really want to review your competitor's website, and customer surveys are great when you've got a following or audience yourself. Okay, even just doing focus group, knowing people that are your target audience and being able to sit down and ask them questions and have discussions. Get into the head of your audience, really get to understand and know them from not just a demographic point of view of age, gender, income bracket, educational level, but what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what do they stand for, what do they read, what do they like doing at the weekends, what do they eat, what's their good versus evil, what tribe do you come from, things about your culture. It's really about a deep dive of the psychometrics to really understand who your audience is. And if you don't have enough of that data, it really does start off with finding out this information from your competitor. Research your competitors, look at their customer reviews, listen to what their customers are saying, because they're also your customers. So if they're making constant complaints of things turning up late, customer service being really bad, what do you think you need to be unique about your business for you to stand out to the customer? It's the things that your competitors are not doing correctly. So competitive analysis is really, really important to be able to stay ahead of the market and gain a deeper and better understanding of who your audience is. So creating customer surveys is one of the most valuable things you can do when it comes to competitive research. It's basically, you want to get out there and find out what real customers think about your competitors, what they're going to think about you. And if you've got a big database of customers, ask them directly. as well as your competitors. Surveys can give you a baseline idea of which competitors to dig into more and help you identify which topics and questions to focus on during that whole interview phase. Okay. Even if your competitors, you want to find people like customers that like your competitors, and you want them to do customer surveys. You want to hear about their thoughts. So you start with a general customer survey, asking customers about the different brands they use to solve their problems related to your offer and why they use those brands. You want to know the why. Okay, you need to be very clear about your why for branding purposes, and do check out our branding masterclasses. But you need to be really clear on the why for the customer so you can really understand them. So based on your customer survey response, you want to build out an interview guide with topics and questions related to those different brands and what you want to know more about them. And interview a few customers using that guide. This is first-hand information that you're going to be getting. So great survey questions to include are things like, what products and alternatives are they currently using to the problem that you solve? How do they use different products together or services? Maybe you're a service business. What do customers think of the tools they use? Okay, what do they think about the tools they're using at present for the problem that your business solves, whether that's a product or a service? How are they using them? Are they using many tools to solve the problem or just one? Okay. Have they ever switched tools or processes, and why? So you're really trying to get to understand your customer psychologically, and you're really trying to get to understand what problems that they have in regards to a process, in regards to an automation of the problem that you solve with the product or service that you're selling to them. The product or service that you're selling solves a specific problem in your customer's life. So you want to know, what does this problem look like? What does it feel like? How are you solving it? What do you use? You want to know all of this because your job is to create and package up. That's why that first title slide said value proposition. It's making sure what you're proposing to your customer, your product or service, it's for them, it works. They feel like, oh my gosh, why have I never thought of this? This is brilliant. It's a no-brainer. They just want to buy from you. And to do that, you have to understand their why. So surveys are a great way to find that out. And don't forget your NPS score, Net Promoter Score. Okay, so on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend products, services, or brands to a friend? And generally, a lot of big companies, all big companies, your Ubers, your Airbnb, all big companies will use NPS scores, and even smaller companies. And the higher the number, the better the customer satisfaction. Okay, so what is the most important reason for your score? That's what you want to follow up with. Why was you scored like that? You tend to find if you've got a score of 9 to 10, which is a really high score, that person's going to go on promote, and nothing's changed. Word of mouth is still one of the fastest ways to grow a business. So your Net Promoter Score is a great indication of how many people are actually going out there and saying this is a great product or service. Okay, review your competitor's website. Having a persuasive website that speaks to your customers, and it can identify with their wants, fears, desires. It's essential. Okay, analyzing the copy, images, and other messaging being key for you to be able to connect with your audience and really be able to sell using your website, landing pages, social media posts. Your copy is going to have to connect with your audience. So look and see, what are your customers doing? Learn from headlines they're using, learn from the way they write copy, look to see how they present themselves, how are they appealing to the potential customers, which is also your customers. Look up their home pages and landing pages. What benefits or transformations are they promising to their customers? What type of customers are they focused on? Help become a customer. Okay, and really look at what are they doing, what can I do better, where are we not serving these customers? Are they targeting the same market segment as you? Are they targeting one that's slightly different? What does that mean in terms of the research and the types of people that you need to target? What types of imagery are they using? Is it imagery that they're feeling connected to? Do they prefer not to use images because they don't want to be put into brackets, because that's something that your target audience stands for? Okay, using any type of showcasing or transformation imagery that your audience is going to connect to. What imagery makes them feel like they're connected to you and you're connected to them? What types of copy styles they're using, like what type of language, tonality in their voice? Are they using really long landing pages with loads of text and loads of videos? Is it more short form landing pages with videos is how they're getting people to sign up for stuff? What are they doing? What does the customer seem to like? Put yourself in the shoes of the customer. What is it that's great about what they're doing and not so great about what they're doing? How do you feel? How does your audience feel? And really reviewing the testimonials and case studies, like what type of customers are they choosing to feature? Do they match your customer demographics, or are they targeting a slightly different part of the market? Okay, what formats are they using? Is it written testimonials? Is it videos, long case studies? Is it a combination? This is going to tell you what type of content they like to consume, so you can also consume that type of content. Okay, and what does that content say? What brand voice does it has? Is it trying to be authoritative? Is it more comical and funny? Is it geeky? Is it controversial? Okay, what features elicit the most praise, and what benefits do the competitors want to highlight? Because this is going to be a direct reflection of what the customer wants, because guess what, your competitors would have done research too. So you really want to review the features and the benefits. What are the features? Like, what's the facts about the product or service? Get as much reviews as you can. Read the reviews on your competitors. Copy the text into a spreadsheet. Record it. It's not just about reviewing it. Collect the data. See what patterns that you're finding out. You really want to find out what are the top challenges that they have, the customers. What are the favorite features? What's missing? The customer service, the common complaint. These are things that you really want to understand. And remember, it's not about copying everything. I'm not asking you to use your competitors because you're just going to copy everything they do it better, and you're going to take all their customers. A competitive analysis should really help you determine where you fit in the market and how you can differentiate yourself, and really help you as a small business, especially as a startup where you haven't got much clue about your audience, to learn more. It's one of the fundamental problems that I had with all of my marketing campaigns, literally right up until like about 5 years ago, especially in this digital space, because connection is so important. And it is understanding who your audience is and getting the messaging right. If you don't know who your audience is, you can't put content out that connects. And if you don't connect, you can't grow your business and sell as much as you do. So the competitive analysis for a startup that hasn't got any of that data, and without wasting loads of money on figuring out exactly who your audience is, because you can only go by your thoughts and views in the beginning. And when you're making decisions by data, you're making a lot more informed decisions. Okay, so thank you very much today, and hopefully you've seen the importance of competitive analysis. Princess, if you can just drop the links of SEMrush, SEMrush, SimilarWeb, and Toro, Spark Toro, and Answer the Public. These are just some of the tools that you can really use and figure out what's going on in your competitors' marketplace, to figure out more about your customer for yourself. Okay. There's loads of tools out there, and the ones that you're going to use are going to depend on what type of business you run and who your audience is. There isn't a one size fits all. But in the beginning parts, you need to get the strategy right. And that's what Women in Digital Business about. It's about being able to teach you strategically how to build out campaigns that are successful, that will get your business ahead, and just stop that frustration of things not working. So if you're feeling like you're kind of still unsure, or you've got no idea where to begin in terms of actually applying this to your business, if you don't know what your business actually needs the most, if you don't understand your audience like better than they know themselves, like really understanding the psychometrics, and you're struggling with that, if you've tried a lot of different things, you're trying out things on social media, you're trying to get a webinar together, you're starting different things, but it just seems that whatever you try and you start is not working, or you're just struggling to sustain and boost that monthly revenue where actually I make revenue from my business, the Ultimate Online Business Bootcamp is definitely for you. Okay, it's a 3-day boot camp. You can do it in a full day, but it's a lot. So it's spread across 3 days. It's online learning, and it really gets you to start thinking about all the foundational parts of your digital strategy to really build a 6 or 7 figure business, like a business that will actually bring you revenue and will work. So it's a great place to start by really identifying the right market, by looking at what's the right marketplace for me. who is my customer by answering a whole load of questions that now enable you to put like winning strategies, messaging, write sales copy, you know, your website copy. It's about identifying who with your audience is and understanding is a product or service that I package up, does it match, and actually refiguring that out if it doesn't. So it's a great workshop that gives you all the worksheets, and it's a workshop where you're working while you're listening. You're working on your business and not just in your business. It's going to really teach you, like, how do I stop leaving money on the table? How do I get more customers? How do I get them to buy more frequently? And how do I get them to buy a bigger order value? And it's looking at other digital sales funnels and campaigns that are run to show exactly what we've learned. So you can see this isn't a myth. This is a strategies that, you know, big organizations, small organizations, these are proven methods and strategies that all the big boys are using. So you can kind of articulate where you need to go. It's always great to see an example of what needs to be done. So it's about looking at those proven messages. And this is the foundation for everything. Understanding who your audience is and what you're selling to them, and making sure that it's aligned and positioned is really key. Otherwise, you build your business on a house of cards, real shaky grounds. So if this is something that could really help you, you get loads of bonuses with it. You know, how to develop your brand story, how to collect leads, an email list playbook, you know, how to launch your product for the first time, a game plan. So you get an awful lot, and it's simply $27. And I'm not devaluing my product, and I hope it doesn't devalue it. We've made it affordable so you can empower yourselves with the information that you need. This is all information that had someone explain this to me in the way that I'm explaining, and I've created a workshop, and you've got workbooks and outputs and solutions and the start of a strategy to come out of it. I just wouldn't have made so many of the mistakes that I made. I've spent a lifetime failing my way to success, and I've absolutely loved it. And there's some things that are just not going to work that you are going to have to figure out. But if you understand the strategies and you really understand what you're doing, it makes the journey so much different rather than shooting in the dark. You have to have a strategy that's going to get you from point A to point B. So please do join our ultimate boot camp. I've invested in you. It's $27. The link is on the screen. The QR code is there. And this is going to be a series to come, by the way. So the boot camp from there is going to be leading on to us launching a program and a mastermind for those who are really serious. We'll be working with you one-on-one. Okay, so make sure you join the boot camp, because it will give you access to a brand new program that we've got coming up, where we will be working with women on a monthly basis to really get you ahead in your business and get a growth plan put together. You have to have that strategic growth plan. You have to know what tools and tactics, what technology you're going to use, and you have to understand how to score your strategy, so you're always got data to understand how you're going to drive yourself forward. It's little things that you tweak in the digital world that start to make a reaction on all the bigger things, and you start to see the sales and the growth of that company. I do apologize about today. It's a power lunch. I don't want to keep you any more than an hour. I cannot apologize enough for all the technical difficulties that we've had. Please do make sure that you watch out for the new masterclasses coming out in September. And like I said, we've got an all new exciting program that we're going to be releasing, that we really want to give back and make sure women are getting the information and resources that they need to get their online businesses ahead, regardless of where you are in the globe. So happy summer holidays. God bless. Have a brilliant weekend. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are around the globe. And I really look forward to seeing you in September with our new form of masterclasses. Well, we've got someone coming into the room with our new masterclasses and all the new things that we've got coming. And, I look forward to seeing you on the boot camp. We've got one more quarter of the year left. The boot camp is a great way for you to really audit and actually see where you are in terms of understanding who your audience and your product is. Sometimes you've got to come back to that to be able to go forward, and it is the foundation. So I really do look forward to seeing you on the boot camp as well. Right, guys. Gosh, did it in an hour, Princess. Really great to have you here. For those of you in the Facebook group community, it's been an absolute blast. I've loved the last 4 weeks of running these masterclasses, and yeah, I can't wait to come back bigger and better, and I can't wait to start working with more of you on a personal one-to-one level with mentoring. So make sure you join that boot camp. Okay. I don't see any questions coming through, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Take care. Have a really, really blessed week. See you later, ladies.